Yeah, let me tell you a true story about a young lady who went to high school near here. When she started to get 15, her mom was a actress, and all the other boys would constantly tease her and bully her because they would show pictures of her naked mother, and it really, really hurt her. Do you ever wonder that for your future kids, they might have to be confronted by that or teased or ridiculed by your line of work?
I know they will be confronted with it, but there's so many ways to answer this question. But honestly, for one, I don't really care, because to me, the way that I look at it and the way that I'm going to raise my kids says a hell of a lot more to me about the child who is instigating negative emotions in my child because of what I do for work, rather than my child minding their own business.
I want to circle back to something you said earlier, where you said that Molly's children, hypothetical future children, could be confronted with like her work, right? Yes. And I think that is not, I don't think there's any career path that precludes your child from potentially being confronted with what their parents say. Like, I know that you're involved in like political work and stuff like that. Do you ever worry that things that you've said online or done or political actions that you've taken might be, like your daughter might be confronted by them by somebody who has like, somebody's kid who has an opposing point of view? I feel like that would, like, do you ever worry about something like that?
Oh, she'll definitely be confronted. It's not videos of me having sex online.
No, but you said like
difference. Tons
of controversial things, right? So do you expect that any of that could like have negative effects on her well-being or like how she's raised or anything like that? Or do you think, and I say controversial like neutrally and descriptively, like objectively, if your views are polarizing, that's going to incite conversation, debate, discussion. Do you ever worry about like kids confronting her with these things and her not being prepared to know how to answer them, or maybe feeling like bullied or embarrassed?
Yeah, I mean, that's a factor of being in public life, for sure. Yeah, and hopefully I build her strong up enough to be able to endure that, right?
Then I bet Molly thinks probably the same thing, right? Like, this is that sort of resiliency.
Do you think public political commentary is morally on the same plane as filming yourself having sex?
Yes.
Yeah. I think people, if anything, it could sometimes be worse depending on what the person is talking about.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree.
Oh, worse, okay.
I think politics is definitely heavier than porn.
You think politics does more damage than porn?
For the actual life,
100%.
like the world, yes.
Yeah. In terms
Her
of, like,
having
the world
sex
effect.
with other men is not disrupting the world.
Well, no, not just sex, but filming it and
I
disseminating
think
it.
it
but that's
actually
not
helps
putting
the
the world
world
into
because
shambles.
it gives
For
the men a release of their semen that they can't get girls to f them, so they go jerk off to me.
All the lonely boys, you know, we're helping them. So
Also, I feel like it's their choice to watch, so it's, you know, it's not.
Well,
like
I was
it's
also going to
shoved or
ask how
forced
kids would
people.
know that someone's mom is a star. How would they know that?
Internet's forever.
The
Can you
internet.
scoot your mic
Yeah,
that way?
But why are,
internet is
I mean,
forever.
obviously kids watch.
It would be a parental failure, basically. Like, the parents are not monitoring their child's consumption of media good enough.
Can I say one thing, though?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Molly, I have sympathy for you. I do. You're trying to cope with the suppression of your soul. And filming yourself having sex with other men and filming it is not the highest and best use of the talents that God gave you. It's not.
I think
And
that is a talent God gave me.
well, it's not the highest and best use, and it's not a talent because, as I said, in my belief, that should be saved in a sacred domain. We're not going to agree on that, but I hope you change course. I think you'll be happier and more joyful, and I pray you don't have to suffer too much to realize that.
Well, in my belief, this is my most happy and joyful.
So if Molly made like a huge pivot and started doing politics, would you support her political like runs and bids?
It's not a matter of politics. I mean, I want what's best for all of you here, and I don't think filming yourself having sex with men is the highest and best use of your talents. In fact, I think it personally has done a lot of damage to a lot of young men. And don't take my word for it. Look, you can read the book by Gary Wilson, Your Brain on. It is the #1 drug in America right now, and it impacts
Well, it
men.
definitely isn't healthy.
Okay, so it's not healthy, so
No.
we agree. So let me ask a moral question. What do you guys think of drug dealers that push fentanyl? Good people or not good people?
Probably not.
Not
Yeah.
good people.
So
I mean, that's
if we
killing
agree
people.
that porn is a
isn't
drug,
killing people.
but hold on a second. If porn is a drug, how is Molly not either drug dealer or a drug manufacturer?
How is
It's different
comparing
levels
porn
of
to fentanyl?
addiction.
There's so many other drugs.
Well,
Like
hold on,
weed is
but-
not fentanyl.
But
Weed's fine.
we agree.
Porn's
Well,
fine.
I wouldn't say weed is fine, but it is
doesn't
not
kill
as bad as fentanyl. But
I mean, there's different levels.
do you believe
to,
porn is a drug?
I think it's an addiction. A drug
Okay.
is a no.
So what does porn due to the male mind?
I don't know. I'm not a male.
Okay, yeah, it is the same biochemical release as cocaine. It's almost identical. In fact, it's even more powerful at times. Not to mention the damage it does to their relationships and how it has to rewire their brain. That goes without saying. But
I don't really see the comparison with like fentanyl and porn though, because fentanyl actually kills people and
is highly addictive.
So
I know right now currently like porn addiction is not recognized in the DSM-5 as a legitimate addiction. The only behavioral based addiction would be drug addiction, something like fentanyl or whatever. Every other type of addiction is something that's like so that you can't, or sorry, not drug based, gambling. That's what it is. Gambling addiction is very real, but I don't believe porn addiction is. I think you can have impulse control issues with porn, but that would be like any other thing that you could have difficulty controlling, like your consumption of.
When Prohibition happened, you know, people said that alcohol, it was not good for you. It led to deaths, it led to arguments, negative things, whatever. Prohibition happened. People still found ways to have parties with alcohol, drink alcohol, speakeasies existed. The only thing that happened was people didn't stop drinking alcohol, people started getting arrested and punished for it. And it started ruining people's livelihoods in that way instead of in a way that they have control over, meaning that they can stop the addiction by getting help at any time. So my question is, if you think porn is so bad, like an addiction like that, what's your solution? Because if you're going to get rid of it, it's still going to exist.
Well, the first solution, I mean, can you at least agree, Molly, that minors shouldn't be viewing porn?
100%.
Okay, good.
18
So
plus for a reason.
Yeah.
well, the age verification's a little bit.
yeah.
So let's talk about that. Utah and Texas passed laws that Pornhub sued that made it more robust. You had to actually provide an ID, and Pornhub didn't like that because they said it would limit their traffic. So would you all agree that if there was robust ID checking, that would, like 18, we can at least agree we could draw the line there?
Yeah, I feel like that's the normal age. For
Okay,
everybody.
I'm glad to hear that. So on the other side, though, I mean, I think we have to acknowledge that the average American male spending anywhere between 45 minutes to 90 minutes on porn websites, it varies. I mean, this is a new phenomenon, and I just want to reiterate it, that highly interactive, three-dimensional video that triggers dopaminergic responses in the brain is unlike anything we've encountered. The science is still being studied, and Gary Wilson's book is phenomenal on this, Your Brain on Porn. In fact, it is the most used, let's just say product, we don't have to say drug, product for young men in this country. And I guess you would all say that, let me just ask you, how many of you are thrilled with the status of American men? You think that they're strong and confident and they tell the truth?
I love an American man as an Irish girl, definitely.
Okay, well then, you're the exception.
They're all
The Americans
horrible.
are silent.
Okay, you see, yeah, but hold on, and I'm not going to say it's only because of porn, because that would not be fair, but porn consumption does not make better men.
No,
You agree?
I agree 100%.
So that's where I'm just trying to introduce into the conversation. You said, what is the solution? So I would just say, Molly, my advice, well, my ask for you is, you know, for people to stop participating in it, for that's not going to happen because the money is so good. But we should draw the line at 18. There should even be, it should be very, very hard to access. But to your point, Molly, you're not wrong. People would always find it. But we should draw a line in the sand somewhere, especially with minors, or have some sort of, you know, we should have some sort of acknowledgement that this is destroying parts of society. And I won't say it's worse than fentanyl, but in some ways it's very, very sneaky. A lot of married men watch pornography. As I said, I've had my own personal struggles with it. It's incredibly addictive. It's incredibly powerful. It also creates depressive effects in about half of the men that consume pornography. And I would just say that, you know, young ladies, it affects women differently than men. Men are 50 times more visual oriented than women. And that's not to say that women don't consume pornography. They do, in increasingly higher rates. But I think it's a social toxin right now.